This is what we're making. Round wire, flattened and twisted bangle. Now this twist here is done with the rolling mill, and this twist is done with the planishing hammer. That's it. For this bangle, we're using 3mm wire, and you can see that this is 230 millimeters long. So we want to put a mark in the middle, and then we want to put our next marks so that we have half the space of that, so that when we make this into a bangle, the three marks will be equal. Okay? So this is roughly, that's the middle. So this is 75, so half 75 is 30 something odd, 37. So mark that on the other end, and then I'll show you how to use the rolling mill or the planishing hammer to thin this. So I'm going to open the rolling mill right up. Put the wire through until I can see my mark in the middle. And we're going to tighten it nice and tight. Normally we don't do this. And we're going to roll it back and forth. Tighten it. Tighten it. So I'm just rolling it the same amount either way. And what we want is a nice flat spot that is half the diameter of our wire. So take it out, measure the thickness with your calipers. You may have to anneal it again so you can see how that's nice and flat and just slightly wider than our wire. So all three spots, you can see I'm a little bit off, but that's all right. Now the other way to do this is to use your planishing hammer, use the slightly rounded end, and you're just going to hammer right on that spot. Until you get it the same thickness as the other ones. Half the thickness of this, which is roughly 1.5 millimeters. Yep. Now you can see the difference in the technique. This is the rolling mill, and it's nice and even and just slightly wider than the wire. Now when we use our planishing hammer, it spreads it this way more than it would if we used the rolling mill. It's fine, it looks good, but it's slightly different. So to make this the same as those, you'd have to file this edge down. I'm not going to, because this is just a demo. Now what we need to do at this point is anneal these places where they've been work hardened. The rest of it's annealed, but I'll just anneal the whole wire and then we'll twist it. So put the end of the wire in your vise. Don't put very much in because it will distort the end when we clamp it, and we want to cut that off. So make sure it's nice and tight. And self-locking pliers, same thing. Only about 3 mil on the end, and we're going to twist this and watch these spots. Now this is round wire, and what we have is nice round wire that goes into a nice twist that's the same diameter as our wire. Now, the planished end is a little bit wider, looks a little bit different, but that's okay. It's just so that you know both techniques. Yeah? So it's just wire making a transition into a twist and then back to round wire. So now we'll need to anneal this again. Take the diameter of your bangle plus the thickness of the wire, multiply by pi. That will give you the length to cut it. After you've annealed it, form it into a circle, solder it with hard solder. So when you've cut it to length, file the ends nice and flat using your number 2 Swiss cut flat hand file. And this should be malleable enough that you can just form it with your fingers. So just form it until the ends touch perfectly, and then we'll solder it. So after it's soldered, quench it, pickle it, round it up on your bracelet mandrel using your rawhide hammer. Don't focus on the twists because we don't want to flatten them out. So just make sure it's round. And then you can tidy up your solder joint. So this is what it'll look like. And we're not going to do anything other than tidy up the solder joint and polish it. That's it.